The Invisible Dog by Dick King-Smith. Chapter 1. The Lead and Collar. Rupert died when Janey was only 2, so she didn't really remember anything about him. She knew what he looked like, of course. There were lots of photos of him, on his own or with Mum or Dad, and one she specially liked of herself as a toddler sitting on the lawn with Rupert standing beside her. She was just sorry she'd never known him. "Mum," Janey said one day, "how long ago did Rupert die?" "Oh, let's see," her mother said. "He died when you were 2 and now you're 7, so 5 years ago." "And how old was he?" "He was 8. "That's not very old for a dog, is it?" Janey said. "Not for most dogs," her mother said, "but then Rupert was very big, a giant really. Great Danes don't usually live as long as smaller dogs." "What did he die of?" "Kidney failure." "Were you and Daddy sad?" "Terribly." "Is that why we've never had a dog since?" "I suppose it is really. We talked about getting a puppy, but somehow it seemed as though no other dog could replace Rupert, so we never did." "What kind of puppy would you have got?" asked Janey. "Oh, a Great Dane again, I think. We wouldn't want any other sort of dog. But they're awfully expensive to buy and awfully expensive to keep." "Shall we ever have another one, do you think?" "I don't know, darling," Janey's mother said. "We'll see." "We'll see," Janey knew, always meant probably not, and don't go pestering me about it, or it'll be certainly not. So she thought she'd better drop the subject. However, the spirit of the late great Rupert must have decided otherwise, for only a few days later Janey came by chance upon something she'd never set eyes on before. She was hunting about at the back of the garage, where her father had his workbench, looking for an oil can to oil her bike, when she saw something hanging high on a nail in a dark, dusty corner. It was a dog collar with a lead attached. Janey climbed up onto the bench and took it down. The collar was a very big, broad, brass-studded one with a round metal disc attached to the buckle. She rubbed the disc clear of dust, and there, scratched on the face, was the name Rupert, and underneath their telephone number. Janey put the collar to her nose. It smelt of leather and dog, and just for a moment it made her feel sad to think that this faint smell that was left of the great creature whose great neck the collar had encircled. How many hundreds of times in his 8 years of life would he have gone for a walk wearing it, with Mum or Dad holding the end of the thick plaited lead? Janey went out of the garden gate and wandered up the lane, the loop of the lead in her left hand, the empty collar dangling. She looked down at the thick leather circlet and imagined the shape and sweep of the great neck, the Great Dane neck within it. She saw the dog clearly in her mind's eye as it walked beside her. Lost in a daydream, she almost bumped into Mrs Garrow, an elderly widow, who lived alone in one of the cottages at the top end of the village. "Hello, Janey, where are you off to then?" said the old lady with a loud laugh. Mrs Garrow's laugh sounded like nothing so much as a duck quacking. "I'm taking my dog for a walk," Janey said. "I can see that," said Mrs Garrow, and she put out a hand and patted the air behind the dangling collar, just where the dog's back would have been. "Who's a good boy then?" said Mrs Garrow. "He's looking ever so well, Janey. You must be proud of him. Make sure you keep him on the lead, mind. There's a lot of traffic in the lane these days." And she went on her way, quacking loudly. Some people never grow too old for games of make-believe, thought Janey. That's nice, and 2 can play at that. "Heel," she said, and she walked on, the invisible dog pacing at her side.